Envy, previously known as Rankers, a team made up of streamers and YouTubers and Radiant ranked unknowns, managed to win Ascension in Americas, and next year will play in Tier 1. It is an insane story that they managed to do this, and they managed to do this by playing, basically insta-locking. Rankers is a very fitting name because Exter's always playing Yoru, they're playing a lot of Clove, they're always playing Cipher. Whatever it is, they played their style a lot of the time, a very unique style that they brought to the game, and it managed to work and get them all the way into Tier 1. And there is a little bit of history with one of their players that I do want to talk about this channel as well, because the first video that I ever made that I really thought like, oh, this actually could be like a job for me, was this video here. It was about the 100 Thieves guard, 13-0 to the guard, and I think right now it's like 27,000 views, right? And so this was kind of the first video that I thought like, oh my god, like actually that's a lot of views. And Baby J was playing in this game, and he now is known as Inspire, and after this game he and Eccles got fired from 100 Thieves. They lost 13-0 and they cut these two players straight away after joining just, weeks before, for those of you who didn't know the story behind this. And ever since, really, Baby J / Inspire has kind of been, a bit of a meme almost, really. But now he finds himself, rightfully so, going back to Tier 1. And the reason that I bring up Inspire particularly here is because we're going to take a look at Bind, and in quite a few of these rounds, you're just going to see the value that he gets on Cipher. Again, we are taking a look at a map. Well, look at their comp, right? And this is the map that arguably they're best at, and maybe it's because they play essentially just, we're just going to play the agents that we like. We're going to play Yoru. We're going to play solo Yoru. We don't care. We're going to play Clove. We don't care. We're going to play Cipher on Bind. We don't care. And it works. And it works for them. And we'll see this just here, right? We'll see this starting with the first gun round in round number 4. Now, in this game, TSM do make quite a few mistakes. It almost seemed like they were a little bit tilted in some of the decisions that they made, but you'll see it right here, right? Like, they were just rushing things, right? So they smoke off Hooker here, right? So they're putting the Brim smoke in down here, and they're just going to come and try and take this space. But they don't wait for the Fade Horn, right? So watch, we're going to throw a Fade Horn, but swing before it. Right, so there was quite a lot, and we will see it in this video, from TSM of things like that, but we have to give some credit to Envy as well. They punish them like every single time, right? They never seem to, especially here on Bind, miss an opportunity to punish TSM. And now you will see that once we get that first kill, they insert the Yoru here. They're now going to come back and pressure over towards A, but they've just got the Cipher setup up, and Inspire is playing here in Heaven, as he often does. You got the Yoru TP coming back across, and so again, we're playing 3 people basically on either side here because we've got the Yoru TP. We start to think, nothing happens essentially. We're running down the time, and now you just take a look that now the time starts getting low, and you haven't dealt with this Cipher setup at all, and now you will see that not dealing with that Cipher setup is going to cause some problems.
Inspire's decided to set up shop. So creative. He's got such a myriad of ideas for where these trap wires should be set up. And again, it's purely to play for connection. It's to play for optimization so that it actually gets connection and isn't just something in your way that needs to be burned. And there you go. That's proc. Inspire gets a kill onto Alvin Boy and can now get even closer to the issue. Kane Zera does get cut short by GMD as Lance has been found out, but yeah, there's no time to play at the spike. Envy can just stay away from the...
So what we see here, and what you'll see in this video from Envy, is they just fundamentally play Bind very well. On this defense side in particular, right? We see that Exter generally likes to wait quite a while for his TPs to come across so he can always TP. Now, this here is the thing, right? I'm pretty sure here in this round, TSM are aware of that, and they're playing so slow that they can wait out the second TP, right? So they're trying to make sure that Exter can't get across here by playing so slow his second one runs out as well. But you then run into the second problem, which we see, is that the Cipher trips are all still up, right? If you haven't dealt with any of this, well, okay, you've still got a lot to deal with here with very little time to do it, right? So when you're coming in onto the site and you've still got 2 trips and 2 cages and a camera to deal with, well, all of a sudden it's not so good. And because you've spent so long, trying to like wait stuff out and create pressure elsewhere, you come into this with 1 smoke, right? You've only got 1 Brim smoke for this whole exec. Like, it's not easy, and you've got no time to do it. Right, so if you take a look at what happens here, and this is what I mean, right? They do a fundamentally good job here as well, Envy, and you'll see this throughout the video also, of when teams try to come to the B site, they try and kind of stop them in here, right? And on the C site, though, they're kind of happy just to kind of hold this space, right? Hold the back site, look for kills in here, aggressive TPs behind, pinch on showers, those kind of things. And it just fundamentally works. It's just a good way of playing the map. And they just do it pretty well, and it fundamentally works. You see the util come into these guys in shower. Maybe Poppin actually does go a little early here, but I can kind of understand it, right? Because the time is so low that maybe he's thinking, like, if I just get a kill, we win the round instantly. But you see he does go for this quite a very aggressive pathing here, like just charging up straight away, which he does end up dying. So you might see that as a bit of a mistake, and maybe it is. But again, the time is so low that even causing a bit of a distraction is going to cause, you know, some issues here for TSM. Because now this fade with the spike and shower just has to, like, sprint out instantly. You see that, like, and this is what happens when the time gets low. People just have to start charging forward. Well, if you're just having to charge forward, well, that's about the worst thing you could do into a Cipher setup, right? Is just instantly charge forward. And you see here, that's how the round ends. Is because Vora tries to just charge forward and runs straight into a trip. And Inspire's just chilling here and gets a kill. So even though this round does kind of go a bit back and forth, Envy do play it somewhat aggressively, just the very nature of the way that they play, right? You've got to worry about extra TPs going to either side, so you're running into 3 people. So you try and play slow, but you didn't deal with the Cipher setup, so the Cipher setup just destroys you. Okay, now let's come to the very next round, which is a bit of an eco here for TSM on this one, but we're going to see now the B setup from Inspire here. So you can see, you know, you got a trip here, you got the camera here, he's going to put his other trip down just in here as well. So he creates kind of the death zone in here, right? So this becomes our death zone essentially. You know, you got the TP coming across here from Extra again as well. And as we see from TSM, it's just going to be kind of this 4-1 split towards B.
Wings of both Seven and Timotino. TSM has to rethink a little bit better now on how they could really try to muster up and take down these aggressive lines here from the defense.
Feels like a lot of it just has to be the raw contact. Seven and Timo have to make their way on somehow, and with absolutely nothing in the tank and breaching your way through a toxic screen, you can't come away with much. Still though, GMD manifests and beckons the...
So again, just take a look at how, like, dominant that is, right? Like how much value they're getting from his Cipher setups. Just absolutely insane. I mean, that trip gets run into twice. The camera giving them good information. The cages are, you know, helping that trip go off as well and making it hard for TSM to realize what's going on. I mean, it's all just so hard to deal with. I mean, this time, you know, they go fast enough to kind of beat this TP and somewhat beat this rotate, right? When this waylay is first trying to go in. But when you stop this waylay the first time with this trip, right? So Timotino, you know, dashes, and you can see what they're trying to do here, TSM. You know, they're trying to, like, pinch here on Poppin essentially, which again, for me, if that is the plan, if you're trying to pinch on this guy, probably the Viper should be back here. You should probably have 2 people here. I've talked about this before. If you're trying to pinch on this, like, having just one guy here makes it sometimes difficult for this guy, because if there's 2 people here and they start running forward, then this guy might just die and it's not a pinch anymore. And it can be a bit tough to know, like, when should you go, when should you not, if you're this guy. But you see, like, the trip forces the comeback there from the waylay, right? So they have to recall the waylay. Then you've got the Yoru coming out here, and yeah, and TSM again, right? They're in a difficult spot. Again, you see some of the problems with kind of the layering of this exec is because, again, you've got your Brim like solo here. You're trying to pinch on this guy, but that hasn't really worked. But now, again, because it's the Brim here, he's like trying to do his job in terms of like being the pinch, but then I think that then goes, which means that he doesn't put down any smokes here, right? Because he's thinking about his job in the exec. So you can see like how, you know, some of the agent positions maybe should be a bit flipped here in terms of making it a bit easier for GMD, because he's trying to pinch on Poppin, but at the same time you need him to smoke this, right? So that Seven doesn't die. You can see how, you know, one plan falls apart and then it all kind of falls apart, and then they just have to end up doing this, right? And yeah, it is an eco, so, you know, I still understand it, but again, I mean, look at that. It's not great, is it? But you see how they had some problems. Again, just these Cipher setups, just consistently, whatever they tried to do here, TSM, it was like the Cipher setup, whatever your plan A is, the Cipher setup is stopping that, basically. It's not going to work. The Cipher setup is going to stop you, and Inspire just has all of these different setups that just cook people. Okay, now let's skip ahead to round number 7. It's currently 5-1, and again, this is another eco here for TSM, but again, I just want to show you kind of like how good Inspire is on this agent, and this is the thing about Envy, right? And it's funny, Inspire talked about, you know, the Cipher nerfs and maybe how this is a dead agent, but he's going to find himself here alone on this A site, right? They got a 4-stack on B, it's just him on A, and he is playing actually a bit more aggressively this time. And as we can see, it's going to be an A hit. But what maybe, you know, this team kind of lacks in terms of like, you know, are they the most, you know, strategic, you know, big brain, galaxy brain team? No. But they do make up for it quite a lot, I think, with just agent mastery, right? In terms of this guy knows everything there is to play about Yoru, right? This guy knows everything there is to play about Cipher, right? And that comes out, right? That maybe, yeah, like in terms of the big brain, you know, galaxy brain macro stuff, maybe they aren't the best team in the world or whatever, but they can make up for it because all of their setups and knowledge of the agents, you know, give them that advantage.
Like you said, too many backbreakers, too many foolproof fallbacks for Envy to rely on. And so TSM once again have to use bodies for intel here. They will suss it out. Inspire held in the back, and he just doesn't care. Spraying through the lamps, and he has all the purchase he needs. Rest of Envy once again here to play, and we're just back to the previous round, except TSM have worse guns and way worse morale. Alvin boy.
So again, just take a look at the map before this exec comes in. It's about as bad as it could be, right? There is no Yoru TP coming across to help him anytime soon. You know, no one else on his team is really there. Like, when the smokes go down, the map looks like this, right? Yeah, okay, we've TP'd here with Exter, right? But he's alone on site. He's alone on site. He's in a tough spot here in Spire, and he plays it so well. Again, just having the delay, right? And yeah, I know this is against an eco, but eco rounds are winnable, especially when the map looks like this. Like, if he dies here, like, if he had died at this spot to the Whaler or whoever, like, they're in a lot of trouble. Right now, it's a 5v4 retake. They've got multiple guns. They've got the sight. Like, you're in trouble. So the fact that he's able to survive here in Spire, he just does such a good job, right? Deals with all the util, manages to find a safe space, you know, maneuvers around the site, gets multiple kills as well, still is able to live, helps his teammate get another kill off another trip. Like, everything is good there, right? And again, like, some of you probably think like, oh, it's just an eco, like, who cares? But again, these ecos get lost because your sentinel player dies when they're alone on site, right? That's how you lose these rounds. But again, he just did such a good job in this game of just being able to, like, perfectly know essentially what was coming in, how to play around his setup and what to do. And yeah, do TSM do the best job in the world in terms of, you know, dealing with trips? Like, this trip does get seen, right, by this Fade Prowler. No one ends up shooting it. They don't really take too much notice of it, perhaps. And then later on, Timotino's going to die, you know, to that trip that gets tripped by the Prowler, the Yoru clone, and then him, right? So that trip goes off 3 times, right? Is that good? No, of course that's not good from TSM. But at the same time, you can't choose what your opponents do. You can only play against what your opponents are going to do. And if they're going to run into the same trip 3 times, then, you know, that's on them, essentially. But again, another really well-played round by Inspire. And then finally, let's finish with round number 10 here, which again, it just goes to show more value from Inspire and just like the team coordination and actually having, you know, pretty good plans as well and executing well on those plans.
And TSM, they're holding on to the ults for this round with a rifle round. Now you're starting to see it's under the trip. The Prowler went under it.
And Inspire above the boxes finds 7, susses out the clone. He knows Yoru all too well. And in the meanwhile, that Ditto.
This is a thing that I think has happened against Envy quite a lot, which is they start winning, you know, and it feels like, you know, they have this reputation of, you know, they're just aimers, they're just, you know, they're gonna run you down, and they do that. Don't get me wrong, like they are very good aimers, and they will just, you know, play pretty aggressively, and actually cost them some rounds, particularly on Ascent, in this game as well. But I think it causes teams sometimes when they're losing to them to, you know, like just rush into things and just kind of play a style that benefits Envy. But again, look at the details of this, right? So again, the details matter of this setup as well, because this Prowler goes through because the trip is actually on the ground, right? So the trip is actually right on the floor here, which means that that Prowler doesn't see it, which means that they actually have to also use the clone here, right? Which then becomes very obvious that this is a clone. It's good by Inspire again. What 7 is doing here, again, just running into a setup with this cage, I'm not really too sure, but whilst that's going on, what you may not realize is, whilst that's going on, you've actually got Extra pushing down here on a short, and he realized that this is an opportunity now to actually go and TP, go in instead, and then he also wins a fight here, and then is able to TP away, right? So that's how we get 2 kills. So again, we've got kind of a nice little just 1-2 trap setup here that ends up getting 2 kills, and we're able to escape. Could teams deal with this better, you know, maybe in tier 1? Yeah, they probably will. Obviously this comp that they're specifically playing against doesn't have a great answer to Cipher. They have a clone and maybe a Fade Prowler run into it, but maybe it won't, as we saw. But they don't have great ways of, you know, they don't have a Sova to destroy them, they don't have a race to destroy it, right? And so it does cause them some problems, and you see that they took advantage of that throughout. And then you've also got stuff like this, right, where Ion, you look at him here, like the angle that he's on, you might even think that, you know, most of the time this doesn't look that great of a fight because, you know, he's gonna have to flick pretty heavy there. But guess what? None of it matters. And it really didn't matter in this game. They just absolutely destroyed them and were worthy winners to get to tier 1.
For you to even have another decision, choice paralysis plaguing TSM's attack side that they chose to start on, that they had been seemingly workshopping all this time, and yet
instantly punishing this hookah control that TSM was trying to take, not even allowing Vora to save his weapon onto the next.